My name is Raffi Arslanian. I am the founder, designer of Thompson Ferrier, the candle brand that we have found about 7 years ago. Thompson Ferrier brings design into the home in addition to what all candles should be doing. A candle by nature dispenses fragrance. Majority do not add value in the house. So our niche is bringing the value of the presence at home when the candle is not burning. Currently, we're focusing on two more important parts of the brand, which is dispensing fragrance and providing a beautiful vessel to have presence in the home. So we are expanding that line only. We're not expanding into anything other than, we're not expanding to other ancillary products, because our core capability and our focus is to stabilize the brand by allowing the public to identify the brand for what it stands for. Once we are able to do that, once we have the loyalty of the customers, then we will begin to expand into reed diffusers, room sprays, detergents, and so on. But for the moment, the priority is to focus on brand identity. Why is the passion for scent? My dad started in the 1950s in the fragrance world, but I was a real estate developer. As a real estate developer, every person who comes into the home of the model, we curated a fragrance, and that solidified that one experience by fragrance. And the reference by the customer, when they call us, they would refer back to the fragrance because they always had that almost like a searing in their mind. Then we changed course. We went back to our love affair of fragrance. This is why we're developing now the second part of that fragrance, which is number one, dispensing fragrance. Number two, making sure that the product has a valuable added value to the space, because as a real estate developer, when you make a model home, you have to curate it very specifically. What was the beginning days of Thompson Ferrier? A lot of dreams, a lot of wishes of how this is going to play out, which none of it played out the way it did. But the big part of it was that we kept moving forward and exploring. A million failures later, by the week, by the month, roadblocks, challenges. The beginning was, we had this grand idea, and I would say that the more we kept trying, the clearer we got in our journey. But we had to keep trying. So what we started off with romantically in this, because your fantasy is never, it's never a reality. So I'm actually very happy where we are today. We have been able to narrowly focus our attention to what is important to the customer. I think pivots in the brand sometimes have to do with market changes, and sometimes it has to do with your personality. I started off on what I call upstairs, luxury component. I felt that there was not enough velocity there, so I went to mass market. That was a massive pivot, because I stopped everything that I was doing in the luxury category. Then I went into mass market. That was one pivot. Uber successful in the mass market, but the mass market I was ahead of the curve. So I hated every minute of it. So I went back and I said, I'm going to focus on exactly what I truly understand, which is the customer experience to be special. Like when you fly first class, it's hard for you to go back to Uber economy in the back. And that's where I love to live, that first class experience. That was my last pivot, and that's where I am today. What was the first marketing experience that I did? Well, when there is no budget for marketing money, what you do is you have to be creative, really. So I took my inventory, and I took 30% of my inventory, and I moved the cost of that. So for example, if I bought something for $1 and I bought 1,000 pieces, that's $1,000. So I took 300 of them, put it aside, and allocated the cost over to the 700 pieces. So now it became like $1.41 per piece. What happened to the 300 pieces? I shipped out 4 influencers every single day, 5 days a week for a year and a half. And I kept repeating this. So every influencer in the world who was in the home decor, fragrance, perfume, candles, lifestyle, showing apparel, whatever it was, it didn't matter to me. I flooded the market, and everybody was saying, where did you come from? I got the internet to talk about me because I flooded the market with my product. Number one, I don't believe I have competitors, which is a very arrogant thing to say. But that's the truth. I don't feel I have competitors, number one. I don't focus on what anyone else is doing. I focus on the experience of my customer. How every single day, every experience that I give my customer, how does it get better? How does my product, the quality, the experience, the packaging, the customer service, the intensity of the fragrance, the bouquet of the fragrance, we don't, the world lives in mediocrity, and that's the place I can't stand. So if I want to live upstairs, I want my customer to embrace that, to feel it. So a lot of my customers have worked very hard. They've put their nose down. They've worked hard. They have a family. They have stabilized their life, but they've spent their life at work and not really experienced. And they now, with my products, are experiencing the better things in life. And that's how I differentiate myself. I focus on my customer, super customer centric. I have no idea what my competition is doing. What advice would I give other brands about my type of first class experience? I would say, understand yourself first. You really have to know who you are before anyone else can understand who you are. You have to speak a certain language. You have to have a position. You have to stand your ground. You have to have a voice. If you don't know who you are, no one is gravitating towards you. And if you try to make everyone happy, you're making, the old saying, you're making no one happy. But the minute you know exactly who you are, that's exactly when you find the right customers. And that's the ultimate game. Outside funding is quite dangerous if it's if you're giving up equity. I love Clearco because you don't give up equity. You don't sign your personal name on it. It's tied to a very specific payment plan. I never recommend it. I don't understand the funding world when it comes to raising capital in exchange for equity. My personal feeling is I am not giving up equity. How did I find Clearco? I follow, for a long time, this gentleman called Gary V. I love his philosophy. I love what he says. I love his attitude. I love positivity. Negativity has no room in my life, and I love the way he speaks. And he was a proponent, and he talked about Clearco. And then the minute I researched it, a lot of times when you look at a brand like Clearco and what they're doing, the obvious is obvious. So it was kind of obvious, hey, this was a good marriage. So I reached out and I started my relationship. Clearco's funded incrementally a lot of the milestones for me. So when we are developing a product and we are going to add value to our bottom line, I go back to Clearco after I know that the base operation of the brand is sustained. And we want to add something more, because when you add another product, not a product necessarily, when you add more items, the fixed cost expenses of the company don't go up. So in a 12-month period, I use Clearco to increase my profitability, because then I can sell with the same infrastructure, I could sell a lot more. And then therefore my margin for that little advance of financing that I got is almost free money. We're generally 95% self-funded. We have no debt whatsoever. Once in a blue moon, yes, we do go back to Shopify Capital when it's necessary, but we stay away from all that now. We stay away from all of it. We're totally 18 months ago, I made a decision that we are going to have everything in the warehouse fully paid for. So that gives me a lot of strength. So I use Clearco in slivers. So outside of that, because when you take a credit line, it never gets paid. So most people don't have the discipline to pay a credit line back. It just stays open and you keep paying interest and so on. With Clearco, it's in and it's out. To take an advance and actually increase our margin because, the rent is stable, the staff is stable. When you borrow money and you have more product and you're selling it within that 12-month period, your rent isn't going up, insurance, or heating bills, phone bills, none of that is going up. So which means that for us, funding became a way to increase our profitability, the overall profitability for the company. Clearco is an essential part of a business that understands their financial health. As long as you understand your financial health, Clearco is an amazing tool to like do a hockey stick. The prerequisite is you better have a healthy financial understanding of your business, your cash flow, your stability of what you have to sell per month to break even and have a margin. And then when you do use Clearco, it's just, then you begin to grow healthy.